Hey y'all, I'm Courtney,
And I'm Sarah,
and this is Bodice Tipplers,
the podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandmother's nightstands.
and then we drink about it.
Hey y'all! This episode is sponsored by one of Kensington Books' newest publications, Carolyn Sparks' The Siren and the Deep Blue Sea. So this book is Game of Thrones meets The Princess Bride. It's a hilarious series combining romance and high fantasy. Carolyn Sparks is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author. It's witty and epic. The Siren and the Deep Blue Sea is book 2 in the Embraced by Magic series. It immerses readers in a world populated by duplicitous elves, sentient trees, shape-shifting dragons, and warrior princesses. 4 sisters have become queens, ruler that all of Atherland's 2 moons embrace. The last sister will forge her own path. Raised on the magic-seeped Isle of Moon, Maeve is used to unusual powers and the way they fuel the politics of her world. But when she discovers an ability to shapeshift at will, she knows who she wants to share it with first. Brody, the enigmatic, infuriating shifter spy, has always made time for Maeve. But it's been almost 2 months since she's seen him, and though no one else believes Brody's in danger, Maeve is more than ready to rescue him herself. The rumor that Brody's investigating terrifying secret army of magic users in the service of the cruel Circle of Five, but when he discovers an identity of one of the 5, the mission becomes personal. Cursed as a boy by the Sea Witch, Brody can spend only 2 hours a day in his human form, a restriction that limits his future and muzzles his heart. Plus, Maeve teases him for being such a pretty doggy instead of appreciating his manly charms. To win his freedom, he must take on a terrible disguise, and when Maeve finds out, she'll unleash a tempest like no other. So, selling points, obviously, I enjoy a good muzzle dog pun. Props on that. Also, a sea witch. If you're going to give me a kissing book and a sea witch, I'm totally there. But this book is super fun. I have a copy of it and really enjoyed it. Also, Carolyn Sparks is fun. She's very active on her Twitter and social media. Also, her website is super extensive and has interactive games that relate to the book. And I love that shit. So you guys definitely go check out and get a copy of Carolyn Sparks' The Siren and the Deep Blue Sea. Again, sea witches and kissing. You can't beat it.
On this episode, we read Jill Barnett's Dreaming. There's not really any classical triggers. I mean, you probably shouldn't read this if you're triggered by women who are so profoundly unlucky that they're a hazard to themselves and others, but they're not smart enough to contain themselves in some sort of, Ghostbusters trap.
I mean, I think, if you're triggered by trying to kill your crush multiple times inadvertently, because this book is the story of reverse Stockholm syndrome. This poor man gets kidnapped and abused for a good solid week and then ends up happily ever after with a menace. So
it's got other content warnings, figuring out that you're on the second book halfway through. I was personally offended by that one.
It's also magic.
Triplets. Yeah, magic in the middle. Unmagical triplets.
Magical triplets. So there's nothing in it other than just a girl that is a disaster and is a hazard to herself and everyone around her.
And uncomfortably dim.
Oh my gosh. Maybe a bad dad. There's a bad dad.
He's not bad. He's not when I say a bad dad, that's not what I mean.
But also maybe a hazard warning against over the top Simon and Schuster references and Anne of Green Gables references. So
dude.
Anyway.
Oh my god. So hey y'all, how are you?
Here we are. We're in week 755 of COVID. Everybody's doing awesome, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. I'm getting ready to send my kid back to school. And you know where school is?
Yeah.
Fuck here.
Oh, I'm getting ready to start back to school. Have school start really, but I don't want to talk about that right now. So you reading anything interesting? That kind of stuff.
I'm reading stuff for this podcast. We did finish the first episode of Doom Patrol. First season of Doom Patrol, which is so fucking good, y'all. Okay, so I'm not familiar with the comic book characters, but my husband is, and he was so excited that Danny the Street was coming to TV, and also said that this would never ever happen. And I was like, okay, yeah, so it's like a genderqueer sentient street. I was crying. I was crying big
Oh,
tears about Danny the Street. So yeah, anybody who's watched it, I've not seen anybody who actually gave it a shot that didn't love it.
yeah.
It's on DC Universe right now. However, it looks like DC Universe is not long for this world, and the next
Boo.
season is scheduled for HBO Max. So I guess more people will get a chance to see it. Don't miss it; it's really good.
Well, I finished the second season of the Umbrella Academy, and it's better than the first season. I loved it so much. And now I'm just watching dumb reality shows just as like a mental break. You drinking anything fun?
I'm drinking a black box, which, by the way, does say. I noticed today. It's very funny that it tells me that it is. Where is it, motherfucker? It's 4 bottles of award-winning wine in one elegant box. No, it the fuck is not.
I'm
It is not
drinking
elegant.
I'm drinking Chris, which is just a Italian Pinot Grigio. It's pretty good.
That's not me peeing. That's the wine.
No. Yeah, so I'm drinking an Italian Pinot Grigio. It's, light Pinot Grigio. It's summer. It's still
Oh,
summer. It's still so hot. So,
little Miss Bottle.
yeah, very fancy.
Haven't been to
Um,
Costco in the last like week, so I have not caught another box of cheap ass Costco wines, unfortunately.
yeah, I went to Morgan Alley's. So,
Oh, I
yeah.
miss Morganelli's. I'm sorry, Morganelli's.
All right, so Jill Barnett is our author today. This book I think is like from 93 or 94.
I have the copy. Sorry, we're still remote and we're still trying to find a
Yeah.
piece of software that works for us. 94.
Okay, so Jill Barnett, this is from her author's page, so it's going to be, her. So she was born and raised in Southern California, and she talks about the Beach Boys. And I guess like she had a gap in jobs that sent her back to college, and then she got pregnant with her daughter. She started rethinking her choices to concentrate on her family, and then just decided to write books. Um, she wrote her first novel 2 years after quitting school. She sold it to Pocket Books. There are over 8 million books of hers in print, published in 23 languages. And she mainly does like historical romance, and I guess like farcical historical romance, because I
See,
feel like
I was not familiar with her. Like the
I, have,
name rang a vague bell, but
I
I
was,
don't think I
yeah.
ever read one of hers.
No, I think this is the only one I've ever read. The more popular one is the first one in this series, which is Bewitching. So,
Which I would try. I mean, the thing is, I kind of think that she was giving us a little bit of what we always want out of Jude Devereaux without
yes,
hating women.
yeah, like there, yeah. So this book was wow. Like it took, I feel like it's a really good like book into our Georgette Hare one, because that one was very capery. But like
Yeah.
this takes caper to
An unwanted extreme.
so
This is caper. If these old shades, if the girl in it had not been Leonie, but instead had been Urkel,
it was
like the
insane.
whole
Like
thing is like, did I do that? Like, yes, you did that, you dumb woman.
yes. Okay, so this book is about Letty, and Letty is the
Oh,
daughter of
hold up. I have to
oh yeah.
read the back description and also describe it. This is one of those books that mostly is not the painted cover, which is really unfortunate because the painted cover is fantastic,
And it
but it's
doesn't have a
mostly like the text and that like wraps around with the little foiled title and everything, and it's like an ombre purple. But what I want to see more of is this painted cover that they obviously did, but
there's
it's
no
not
step back.
her.
We're gypped out of a step back for it, like we don't have the step back where
But it's
because
not
you
her.
feel
She
like it's
wants to be a Titian-haired beauty, and the woman on the cover in the horny oil painting has red hair, but that's not what she looks like.
no, that is not
So
what she
it's
looks
not
like at
even
all.
of her. I guess it's maybe this is sort of also fantasy because this is a daydreaming woman. So maybe
Yes,
this is supposed to be. And the dude in it looks like he drives like a car that looks like it's hot, but it really smells like oil.
as a Trans Am, he's a Trans Am guy.
Yes, yes, he's a Trans
Yeah,
Am guy. And the back cover. Most English girls meet their heart's desire across a crowded ballroom or in a genteel parlor. Letitia Olive Hornsby finds hers when she knocks him out of a tree. A curly-haired, blue-eyed hellion of only 11, she decides even then that Richard, the dashing, handsome, and totally disreputable son of the Earl of Lennox, is the white knight of her dreams. I don't think he was disreputable at the time. I think he was just a kid. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm trying to keep going because all of this makes me want to like editorialize. Now fully grown and unexpectedly beautiful, Letty is I'm sorry, there's a tear in this. Ginning up, I'm not sure, something inning a plan to save Richard from himself by marrying him, of course. That's not in the book. It's not a thing. And he soon has the bruises to prove it. The insufferable, albeit unforgettable, Chit has come back into Richard's life with a crash, literally falling into his arms. He is struck by her softness, her dizzying scent, and her impossible meddling into his ruinous drinking, gambling, and amorous liaisons. When fate makes them prisoners of a ring of dangerous smugglers, Richard discovers in his mischievous cellmate a pure, romantic, questing spirit that sparks a flame in his own shattered heart. If only they can escape, a wondrous passion can blaze free, and they can find a lifetime's adventures in each other's arms. She doesn't have a plan. She's not smart enough to have a plan. There's no room in her head for a plan. You can't make a plan out of two brain cells that are like just questing for each other in the dark.
Oh my God, she's so dumb. Like, okay, so the book starts at a ballroom scene, and Letty, they call her Letitia Letty, is a wallflower because you find out she's a human disaster. And
I wouldn't dance with her either.
no, so this guy Richard shows up, and it's like her childhood friend, and he takes her dance card and sees nobody has signed it, so he signs it and dances with her. And of course, she steps on his feet, but like, it's solidified that she is in love with him. Like
It's cute. It's a cute scene.
Yeah, so she's known him, like they're neighbors. They grew up like in the same little village. His father is the Earl or whatever the hell.
He is an earl.
Yeah. And so, she's been in love with him for as long as she's known him. And like the thing is like she is thirsty. Like she does not try to hide that she is in love with him. Like she is like, Richard, I want that. I want it. And so this poor man is always having to deal with this like 19-year-old girl just like throwing herself at him.
The weird thing is, okay, so they show you this introductory scene to kind of set up these two characters, and it's like it's very sweet because she's all like, oh God, my aunts and all said I'm not allowed to get my own fucking lemonade, but no man is looking at me. I want some fucking lemonade, and finally he steps in and like gives her some lemonade.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't say that after that. Okay, what happens in between that and the start of the actual story is that her season was such a disaster that she went the fuck home after a month.
Yeah.
Like it looks like she pulled the pants of the king down. I was a little confused by exactly what happened there.
She pants the king.
Which I would think would make you the belle of the ball, but evidently not.
I mean, you know what though? I think if Leonie had pants the king, it would have been
yeah.
But Letty pantsing the king, no bueno. So the second part of like after that little like prologue, it opens with Richard riding across the moors, and he's got angst, and you find out later why he's got angst. And
well, you do know that this is his first trip back to his this home after his father and brother. Of course, they were supposed to live a long time before that. But they both died, and so it's his first trip back, and so you do find that out.
Yeah, he's riding across the moors, all broody, and then he stops on this cliffside because he sees lights on the beach. And he's like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, there's this bitch. I don't even know how she gets there. Like,
she teleports just to trip and fall on.
So, like, basically, she like jumps out of the bushes at him, and he's like, and he
with her dog.
He essentially falls down the cliff and wakes up, and he's in a ship hold. And he's like, what happened? And Letty's got his head in her lap, and she's crying. She cries a lot. And she's
oh my God. I don't know how she's so hydrated. I really don't.
Oh my God.
The thing is, like, it's amazing because, well, for one thing, he wasn't that bright either because, like, you see lights in the dark on this British seacoast in the middle of the Napoleonic Wars. unless you want to get in it, maybe just find somewhere else to walk, okay? Because you
But
know
he
it's
wasn't walking. He was on top of the cliff and was like, huh. He just stopped and looked, and then this bitch was just there. She just like popped out of the bushes at him. Like, she's a stalker, Sarah. She is a stalker. She knew where he was. Like, she's swim fan. She is swim fan, and she just knows where he's gonna be and jumps out at him and like essentially his horse shies and bucks him off, and he falls off the damn cliff. Luckily lands in some sand and some bushes and like hits his head on a rock.
But she always lands safe. She lands soft no matter where she lands. She lands on top of him. And then, okay, so I do give this book some not credit, God knows, some appreciation because for some reason her fucking dog comes with her. But the book is always careful to tell me where the dog is, and I feel safe that the dog is okay.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to that dog because it's an extension of her. Like
it's her meanness. At the end, she has no meanness. It's all in the dog.
so,
She says Richard. Did we say his name is Richard? His name is Richard. And she says like anybody in the cast says his name, and the dog is like.
Yeah, the dog growls whenever he hears Richard. And so he wakes up in this ship's hold, his head in Letty's lap. You know, he's got a headache. The dog's growling at him. He's like, where the fuck are we? And she's like, oh, you fell down the cliff. So I ran down the cliff and, you know, had to come and
nice
get
gentleman invited us in.
And yeah, these nice guys just brought us onto the ship. And he's like, Letty, we're in serious trouble. She's like, no, we're not. It's fine. And he's like, no, we're in trouble.
Well, and he's right that they probably would have been fine normally because like they both understand where they are and that, like everybody's smuggling. All right,
Yeah.
they're like it's just like a smuggler economy. But then he starts fucking. No, it's his fault. He starts looking around to find out what they're smuggling.
Oh
Nobody
my God.
made him do that.
And then what had like so yeah, he finds out that they're smuggling gun stocks and he's like, oh shit. But again, she has like so injury one, she has concussed him.
Yes.
He's still trying to be nice and like keep it together. Also, he's a blonde man. I was worried because I know how Sarah feels about a blonde man.
Oh, there's a bunch of blonde men in this, but
Yeah.
put a pin in that because this is not the first thing that she's done to him. In the past, she's done like 50 things to him every time they encounter each other.
Yeah,
so this is not
story.
restarting the clock, okay? Like he's got like black eyes, he's gotten like all kinds of stuff. He's ended up in so many bodies of water.
So okay, so he's looking around. She's messing around with like the kerosene lamp and somehow lights him the fuck on fire. She lights him on fire. This is fire one. This is fire one. It's a small fire. His cape catches on fire and he has to like stomp it out. But again, he's singed. So he keeps trying to like impress on her that this is fairly serious. And she's like, I'm not worried about it because you're here and you will protect me. And everything.
He also doesn't want to like scare the shit out of her. So he doesn't actually tell her like, okay, smuggling guns, this is a death sentence. They will kill us.
But I'm
like,
thinking
they're not just gonna like drop us off. They are going to fucking kill us.
So then we get this knock on the little cabin door, and the first of like three.
I gotta get their names.
Weird little like troll dudes come in that are like they're all bald and weird looking, like Filbert, and then they all have
Phineas, I think, and oh god, I'm just flipping through it, and it's just like things on fire.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Phineas, and Filbert.
Yeah. So one of the three.
So I mean, she actually can tell them apart, which good for her.
Oh my god! She's a magical girl. So like one of the three P's come in, Filbert, and you know she's talking to him, and he gives them some food, and she's like, well, they're not going to kill us because they gave us food, which sound point.
Yeah, actually that is a decent.
But then poor Richard, the dog eats his food.
Yeah.
Like so, Richard doesn't have any food.
No,
and
fuck
then
you, Richard.
Richard manages, like when the next brother, Philem comes in, Richard manages to like talk at him and he manages to get the gun away from them.
Well, okay, before that happens, like Richard thinks that he can like make them think that he doesn't know about the gun locks, okay? Yeah. Because like if as long as like they don't know about it, maybe everything is okay. Like maybe they'll just let them go. Because you don't want to be the one who kills an Earl, right? Right. Yeah. But then no, dumb fuck. It's like, and all the guns are just like, oh my god. And so he has no choice but to try to overpower this dude.
And then so he manages to like the gun slides away dramatically, and he's like, Letty, grab the gun. That's his mistake. He should know.
He should have known better than that.
From passing. So Letty grabs the gun and then shoots him in the arm.
Yes.
So
No. Didn't just shoot him in the arm. He finds out later she also shot the other lamp.
yes, which was
Which
by
exploded.
like, yeah, she was by the lamp, which was by like a small store of gunpowder. So we have the second fire. Richard is now shot, set on fire twice, and concussed.
And there's a hole in the boat now.
Yeah, and there's
Sorry,
a hole in
ship,
the boat.
ship.
So yeah, concussion shot, twice caught on fire. So they're still this poor man is still having to deal with her, and she's just daydreaming and talking about how much she loves him. She's cried again about shooting him, and he's like, it's okay.
What's he supposed to do? She's such a when she just bursts into tears, she's one of those people that you can't do anything but like, okay, just I will do anything, just stop making that noise.
He does he like while they're in the hold, he gets frustrated and he kisses her, and he does like he does do like the boob grab.
Yes,
He does
the boob grab.
He
But
does
then
do,
also on him, he's a damn fool because then he says, "Oh man, you should have hit me for doing that."
But the other thing is like, she takes his like hand and moves it off her boob onto his shoulder, and he stops kissing her, and he feels very ashamed. And she's like, "Why did you stop?" Again, she is so thirsty. She is so thirsty for
He
it.
wants to ride that pony real bad.
Oh my God, yeah. So he tells her, he's like, anytime a man does that, you need to slap him. And she's like, okay, Richard, whatever you say, Richard,
I think she actually said hit him because of what happens later.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm gonna slap. Oh my God.
Oh God. So we're going across the channel. Somehow Letty charms the 3P brothers into like letting them on the deck of the ship.
Well, and this is okay. We forgot that poor Harry, one of the crew members, has already lost his eyebrows to the fire and explosion.
Yeah.
So also keep an injury count on Harry.
Yeah, Harry and Richard. So they go up on the ship deck. She's letting that damn dog, and you find out later that it's a bloodhound because they keep talking about the dog, and I'm like, what the fuck kind of dog is this? Like, because I was like, is it a basset hound? Because they talked about the ears. I thought it was smaller in the size, but it was a bloodhound, which I'm also
a substantial dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So the dog's running around. Letty's up there, and like a wind comes by, and she's like messing with her skirts and just like lifts them. Like basically,
she's fixing her stocking, so it goes all the way up.
And then like everybody on the ship stops. The boom hits poor fucking Harry. Like he gets one of those comical like boom,
Yeah, it's like one of those ship things. Like people get seriously injured because they were. That's on them, quite frankly. Yeah. Nobody made them look.
And then like the ship lilts really bad to the side, and Richard goes over. They finally. Letty has like thrown the fucking ladder overboard somehow, and so they finally like fish Richard out of the water, and then another big.
No, it's because she made him go in to get the fucking dog.
No, he goes in twice.
Oh, that's right. Well, so 3 times total because he goes in another time.
So she basically like knocks his ass into the water as she's like boomed Harry. They get him out of the water. The boat tilts again. He manages to grab her, but the dog goes overboard, and like
you had to get him. You had to get him. And of course, like Richard is all like, he's that kind of crusty guy who he's gonna get the dog, but he's all like, well, yeah, he acts like he wants the dog to die.
So he goes, and he finally goes in after the dog, Augustus.
But the dog doesn't need help. The dog is like, ha ha, it's like swimming past him.
So they finally.
The dog hates this guy so much. The dog has so much fuck you energy.
Oh my God.
Maybe I'm the dog in this story. I don't know.
The dog is the big dick energy in this story.
Yes.
The dog. So they finally get back on board. Harry is about to murder the shit out of Letty, rightfully so. And then all of a sudden we have privateers show up. We've got these, and like the privateers are like genuinely scary to Letty, and like they're being,
they should be.
Yeah, they're being gross, and they tie everybody up, and are gonna murder the twins or the triplets, and Letty's like, no, please, because her goodness, she's so good.
Oh my God.
And yeah, like you were saying, she's making all these illusions because again she talks about daydreaming, and you can tell, and again we'll get more into it when we do questions, you can tell that this is like this author loved the shit out of Anna Green Gables because like she's Anne but without the brains to back it up. Like
She's just the dreamy part. Oh, I forgot. No. Before the privateers pick them up, he wants her to jump into the fucking dinghy. And now she's scared. She's not scared of any fucking other thing. She's
Yeah.
scared. And so he jumps in to make her jump in to save him, which is actually kind of great. But he's all like, I'm going to hold my breath for as long as I can. And
Yeah.
I'm going to see if that cannonball hits to the left or the right of the dinghy, and that will determine like how I handle this. But it sinks the fucking boat.
Oh my god, it's like so.
You know, some faces launch ships. Letty's face does not launch ships. Letty's face sinks many ships.
All the ships. So Letty ends up like, yeah, they're with the privateers.
And the privateers are weird.
Yes, and so then
the Americans, they're weird. Which you find out later why.
So we're basically about 150 pages in on this. And then all of a sudden, and this is the thing, on the book, on the cover and everything else, like it does not allude at all to like this being part of another series, like part of a series. All of a sudden, we just have like a complete, setting change, and we have all these other characters, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? We got like a Scottish witch, a young Scottish witch, and an old Scottish witch that's alluded to.
Yeah, and it's got like some people who, and you can tell if you know anything about romance novels, that these people must have been the main couple in a previous romance novel because they are newly married and about to have a baby. So you know that this is like last book, right? But there's also this dude with all these good luck charms.
Yeah. And like, so they're from that first book, Bewitching. And then there's another smaller couple. There's a girl with a scar on her face. She kind of becomes important just for a really nice scene that happens later with Letty.
It's a nice scene, but like you gotta cut her out, and it would have been like it's strange that there's like these very extraneous characters.
Like, who are these people? So basically, the young witch has an aunt who the old witch, who the McGregor or whatever they call her,
the McLean, I think.
Yeah, so she has orchestrated all of this to get Letty and Richard together.
And you find out, like, eventually, okay, that of all these privateers, one of them is a warlock, one of them is a cat, one of them is a fucking ferret, and one of them is this witch, and they're all in disguise. And this is all to just, like, mess with people, I guess, who need to be messed with.
And, like, one of the privateers, I guess it was the ferret, was really gross and inappropriate to Letty. Like,
yeah, I don't
like talking about how he was gonna break her in and stuff. Like, I think
it might have been the cat, which would kind of make sense.
That kind of makes sense.
Cats
yeah.
Are,
All right. So basically, Richard is, he's like, look, he's like, I've got really powerful friends. I'm an earl. Like, just ransom me. Like, ransom us and just drop us off. And so the privateer, who is the witch, the Scottish witch, like just drops them off on this island.
The weird thing is they're on what they think is a completely desolate island, but then it turns out that it's like completely populated by these people who have nice gardens and shit. So it doesn't really make any sense.
It's very wild. And so like Richard and Letty have like kissed a couple of times. Oh, he does kiss her again, and like he goes for the boob grab, and then she fucking takes a tree branch, and hits
the fuck out of him.
Listeners, if you're keeping up, we have concussion 1, we have fire 1, we have fire 2, we have
bullet
wound, we have thrice drowned, and now hit in the head with a tree branch.
Yes, not to mention he hasn't eaten anything in like for fucking ever.
Because the dog keeps eating his food. And basically this book is just to see how far you can, like, obviously, I would never, ever like condone this, but I was like,
this is, we've seen a lot of books that do women like this. We have seen a lot of books that torture and torture and torture a woman. So you know what? Fair fucking game.
I get it, but I was like, oh my God, if I were Richard, I might just like punch a bitch and just be like, jump over the boat and just be like.
No, when I was in that privateer ship, I would have been like, fine. I'm gonna hoist the black flag.
Oh my God, it was insane. So they're on this.
You people.
They're on this island, and at first it's just the two of them, and then all of a sudden, Harry and the P triplets, Filbert, Flim, and
wrapped on this shore.
They're there.
And Harry, it's unclear whether he wants to kill her or himself. Harry is now, and he has only experienced a half of what Richard has experienced.
Yes.
But Richard is a stronger man than Harry. They
So
have to tie Harry up.
they have to tie Harry up, and she's, but eventually her goodness wins out on Harry because she almost catches herself on fire, and like Harry pushes her, and then Richard gets really upset and like is
Well, he
starting
pulls
to,
her skirts up too. So Richard thought he just became a rape monster, I guess.
yeah,
And Richard
and so like
just beats the fucking shit out of Harry, and so she comes and clocks him so hard that he's in a coma for a day. I mean, like
so can cut like head wound number 4. We're on head wound 4. And this is all in the matter of like a long weekend. This is like a Labor Day weekend situation. So his friends have eventually gotten word that he is with Letty, and at first they're all laughing. They're like, ha 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 ha, this poor son of a bitch, he's stuck with Letty. And they are correct, but they pay the ransom and they finally find them, and they're, in a state of like disarray.
what they wanted to do though is they had an excise cutter, like they wanted to catch the privateers, but it turns out that it's all magic, and so of course they had all this arranged and stuff.
It's fucking magic. So
But I mean, like and the whole thing, and honestly, I didn't think about this either, but the whole thing moves so fast, and it doesn't really feel like it's historical.
yeah,
It's one of those kind of like just real quick moving, like
yeah,
historical is just a setting, so I hadn't even thought about the fact of it. Whoa, she is hella fucking compromised. He is going to have to marry her.
yeah. And like one of his friends brings this up, and he's like, "What?" And again, the man has had 5 head wounds at this point, so you got to be a little forgiving with him on that.
He did not consider that this whole time.
He has been drowned. He has been shot. He's been set on fire. He has head wounds. Like I'm surprised that he did not get in these type of books, like that he didn't get bonked on the head and become blind temporarily, and it like get bonked on the head to become unblind. Like because it was that kind of situation.
I mean, I guess he can be an earl and not remember the first 20 years of your life.
Oh my god, he is gonna have that like ex-football injured like player like brain situation.
Well,
Because
and so they have a little respite at this nice house that's on this desolate island.
Yeah.
The thing that it's kind of dumb because I mean I do hate the black moment, the third act black moment, because you had to have some kind of thing, but it kind of makes sense and kind of doesn't make sense in this because he's like, I can't. Well, for one thing, he thinks that he is very messed up.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to, like all these men do. You don't want to inflict that on this person, this very pure person. He has not considered the fact that her reputation is in the fucking shitter right now.
I mean,
and
it's
he
always
has
been
to
in
marry
the
her.
story,
So what he does is just be a mean motherfucker to her, and when he's like drunkenly playing the piano.
Yeah.
And then he realizes the next day when his friend tells him that, like, oh shit, I have to marry her. I didn't have to do that. I was a dick for no reason.
Well, she gives him this, like, it's like the one, like, there's a couple of like actual glimpses into Letty. Like one, like when that happens, like he does this thing where she's, he's like, I love you, Letty, I love you. He's like, it's easy to say, like, you need to get over this. You need to like realize that people will say things to you, to make you do what they want. And then she gives him this whole thing about like, because her mom died when she was young, and about how she only says it when she means it, and she always tells people that she loves them so much because like she didn't get to say it to her mom. And like it's a nice moment. And then while in this like little respite area, she meets the girl with the scar on her face from the other book, and they just get to talking, and like there's a nice moment about like 2 girls who were very lonely, like finding a friend finally. And like,
yeah, I wish that there had been more of that, because the girl, I can't remember her name, started with a G.
Gianna, I think.
Yeah,
Giovanna.
she was barely in the book. Like she was almost just there to marry off a character that we didn't read the book that the guy was in. So.
Yeah. And so, it ends up with like him coming to her the next day after he says all these bad things to her, and is like, well, we have to get married. Or he talks to her father, and her father's like, you can marry him or you can't, you don't have to. And they get married. They do sweet lovemaking. It's very consensual.
She doesn't really, I mean, I did appreciate that she doesn't immediately warm up to him after all the shit that he said to her, because like she's like, okay, I mean, like, I have to get married, and I'm like excited about this, but on the same hand, and she even has sex with him. It doesn't really, She's still a little bit withdrawn from him, I guess, which is why they had to do, which I think is the shittiest fucking thing a book has ever done to me in my 40 fucking years. All right, you know that the last 10 pages of a goddamn romance novel are just people like sweeping up loose ends, right?
Yeah.
No, no, she gets fucking shot with 5 pages to go.
Yeah, they get beset on by highwaymen, and she gets shot, but then she's fine.
Yeah,
But he
it's fine.
realizes that he loves her. But I did think their sex was pretty hot. Like, it was cute because she was like,
Yeah,
"How many
well,
times have you
it's
done this?"
weird though.
And
I'll talk about that later, but like the its place in the plot was very strange.
well, yeah, I mean, it's I think one of the few ones where we have where they've actually like gotten married before, like they got married before they had sex. Like, you know what I mean? Like, usually it's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, and also it's just like the timing of this plot's very weird. It's got like lots of it's not a traditionally like beat romance. I guess I don't know. It's interesting to that respect. Now there was some hot honestly the makeout business
yeah,
in this
the
book is
makeout
not bad at
scene.
all.
I like the sex because, like, again, I felt like it was like, because at first she's uncomfortable, like it's not. Oh, I'm
But
so
it
in.
has one of those. It has possibly the one of the more extreme versions of that weird virginity scene.
Yeah, but I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was one of the, like, I was like, oh, okay, I'm here for this. But
Yeah. I was here for that. This whole thing, though, I like the writing. I mean, I read this like, whoa! I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna finish this in time. Holy shit! I gotta tell Courtney I can't fucking do this. And then like, bam, bam, I buzzed through it while hating this bitch the whole. So
oh
I
my
would
god,
read
yeah,
another one of hers. I thought like I liked her sense of humor. I liked her style, but I just
yeah.
fucking Letty, man.
Letty is the worst. But like, yeah, and there's all these like, and again, I guess we'll get more into that with questions. But like, there's all these like, because she keeps talking about, like, when she meets Giovanna, she calls her her kindred spirit. She talks about, which
That's
is,
Yarda. That's like a gut disease, right?
but he's like, that's such an, like, that's the Anna Green Gables, that's the Anne and Diana thing,
Yeah.
is kindred spirits. And then she talks about the Titian hair, and heroines having Titian hair, and I was like, all right, lady, like, you straight up taking Anna Green Gables. And then like the boat's name was like Simon and Schuster,
Oh
which
yeah, that was oh my god. Oh, we missed. Okay, so we didn't say. So it turns out the three P's, the triple P's, they were actually these tragic people
they're
who like
buttermen. They're like,
one of
they're the
them got
butter
like an
gang.
actual head injury, like what really happens to you with a head injury, and kind of like
Yeah.
was incompetent and sold like I don't know, they were magic beans, whatever. So they sold the farm, which they lost to the enclosure
It
movement.
was the
They were
best.
dairymen.
The Enclosure
Oh my
Act.
god,
Like,
like this is my head exploding. So they were dairymen. They lost their dairy living. They lost their farm. All they had was this boat and one pot of stew, which is why they couldn't give Richard any more stew. So there's them. There's Simon and Schuster, weirdly, and those are like the highway. Like they're like, and so what are your skills? And like, well, stealing shit. And
yeah.
then
And
there's
so
poor fucking Harry.
it's the book does end with like the three P's and Harry all coming to work for Richard. And
Because like
like,
Letty's like, guess what, bitch?
yeah.
You
I mean,
have money. Give these people a job.
and so, they're just like, they're happy and married, and she hasn't caused any, like, I think it was like, and I guess we'll get into it more with our questions. I think like she's so, well, again, we'll save it for questions, but yeah. So I mean, it ends, that's the end of the book. But so I guess,
It
yeah,
does end.
it does end. So okay, question time, I guess. So big dick energy or big dick energy? Again, the big,
Poor Dick. His name is Richard, so this is
yeah,
like I think this
the
is our
the
first
big
Richard, isn't it?
yeah, Richard. The biggest
Yeah.
dick in the book is Augustus, that dog. That just
I
is
love
like,
that dog. I wanted that dog to bite that man in the butt. I mean, not because I poor Richard. I liked Richard a lot. I felt sorry for him.
yeah.
I was always all about the energy of the dog, which is fuck you.
I will say, like, Richard had more patience than, like, again, he does, like, he's mean to Letty, but I feel like the one time that he's actually mean to her is trying to teach her a misguided lesson kind of thing.
Well, and
But,
he's one of those guys who thinks that he's not good enough to have a
oh,
woman who
and
cares about him.
you find out that the reason his brother and his father died in a like coach accident on their way to like get him from something. He was misbehaving and like,
And his dad was a piece of shit. I mean, his dad was
Yeah.
mean to him, and like whatever.
So I
It's
mean,
like that.
Richard really, I feel like he's probably one of our few, I guess if we're going to use the terms like alpha beta males, like he's one of like the few beta males that we've had, because like even when he is terrible, it's not.
He's a rake, but he does whatever she wants.
Yeah, like I mean, again, she has him from the jump, just like, you know.
And he does try to, when he's not even being mean always. He's trying to tell her, like, girl, you cannot just let a man put his hand in your vagina.
Exactly.
And she's like, but I love you. So she is
Exactly.
like, she's got, are you supposed to say WAP or WAP? I'm
I would
not
just say
quite.
WAP.
I was saying WAP too. Well, she's got that WAP. She's
I mean,
like,
she really does, but
yeah, she's like, I don't. Well, I mean, and she has that. Of course, it's not just that. She has that faith in him. She's like, well, you
yeah,
would never hurt me. Also,
yeah.
I would like to fuck you.
Oh my God, it's so yeah. So I mean, again, I feel like I said, like he's just a decent enough dude. So especially for our historical romances, like
Yeah,
he's
because
the most
authors often like allow that rake designation to
yeah
kind of like let them treat women a little more meanly.
yeah.
Not necessarily, just be a little more mean than you would allow like a present day guy.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
yeah,
he
he
was
has
like
had sex with other women, and he does throw that in her face.
no,
But like,
he does, but then like it kind of becomes like this, cute thing where it's like she's asked him, she's like, how many women have you been with? And he's like, I don't. He's like, he does like the and she's like, oh, I bet it's 1,000,000. And so like after they do it, he's like, well, 1,000,001. And so like
yeah, and then the end is
like
like 1,016,000.
yeah. So I like I
It's
don't
kind
know.
of cute. But like when he gets mean and drunk, he does like throw that in her face. But then again, yeah. I mean, like honestly, without when you think about it in his perspective,
Yeah,
granted he's had his marbles rattled like 8 times.
yeah,
Also, he
and
has
like
not thought about the fact that she's ruined. He's trying to tell her, "I'm
yeah, I
not
feel
a
like he was
single
trying to
man.
do like
You
some
gotta find
tough
somebody else."
love, like you can't be doing this, like
I
so
can say I love you and fuck you and leave you. Do you want me to? The only reason he doesn't say, "Well, do you want me to fuck you?" is because it's
yeah,
1994.
exactly.
And that's what he meant. He's like, "I will fuck you if you want me to fuck you." But
Yeah.
I can say that as easily as anything. Like, and
So
anybody else can
oh,
too.
and they do also have like basically like there's a scene in it where they talk about like early meetings where she essentially does like the Anna Green Gables Gilbert meetup where like she's like stuck on a bridge
How? She's
bridge.
finding how.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like she's like on a like he has to get her on a little like rowboat and of course she knocks him off and stuff.
The whole thing
Um
is very yeah.
yeah, so I feel like again, I feel like he was blonde Gilbert Blythe, like is who he's supposed to be, but then she like if like what if Gilbert was blonde and we tried to murder him for an entire book?
But
Like
also, if Gilbert Blythe were to fuck his way through, like,
so yeah. So
whatever
I
the
mean
combat zone is,
again, the dog is the the biggest BDE.
yes, the dog has that BDE in this. You figure that every dog, like every puppy in that county,
Oh
has
my god,
some
it's
red
wild.
bloodhound looking puppies.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Sorry. Would you talk shit with or about the heroine? Oh my fucking god, Letty.
I mean,
My
I feel like
fucking
you guys
god,
haven't
Letty.
gotten it that we're not overly fond of Letty. Like, I think I think Letty could have been really interesting because, and this is what I was saying. Like, I feel like they end up happy and like the accidents stop happening and stuff. I feel like what she's supposed to be is like so try hard, like one of those people that just
I
tries
get
so
that.
hard that like it
Or
just
like you're
blows up in
always
their
just a
face.
little bit fucking wrong.
Yeah,
You always just fuck it up in some little way.
yeah,
You get the right shirt, but it's the wrong color. You get the,
right,
yeah, and we've talked about being that kid in middle school, so I get that a
yeah.
thousand
But then
percent. But she's so fucking airheaded.
and I feel like I wish that Jill Barnett had honestly like if she had taken the time that she kind of does at the end of the book with Letty, like with her conversation with Giovanna and like the stuff that she says to Richard after he like is mean to her, like that's a little bit more insight into her where I was like, okay, I like her a little bit more
Yeah,
now. But
maybe if they put like front loaded that, that would have
like
been
the
helpful.
first half of the like or the first 3/4 first 75% of the book is just like her being such a pain in the ass.
And like literally something terrible happens and she's like, did I do that? Like
Yeah,
seriously,
she is. She
like she
is
does
Brady
not take
Ercol. Like,
responsibility for her. Oh, how could you possibly? I mean, she's sorry that she shot him, which I mean, I guess is a plus. But how many fires? I've never set a single fire. I'm 40 years old.
well, I mean, like too. It's just like when like after she does all these things to him, it becomes about her and how bad she feels rather than
Yeah,
like,
he has to like make her feel better about shooting him.
yeah, she is not my favorite at all.
No, I
Like,
do
and I
not
don't know,
care
like
for Letty.
her dad, like, you find out like she was always trying to get her dad's attention, and she was trying to do things by like building like, because her dad was into Roman antiquities, like she was trying to reconstruct, aqueducts, and she like floods fields and stuff like that. Like this
The
has been
funny
a
thing is
long.
that like absent archaeologist dad is such a thing. Like that's like a whole trope is
And it
absent
really
archaeologist
is.
dad.
And so I'm like, I guess it's supposed for us to be like, oh, she's smart, but she's not smart,
No, she's a fucking dumb shit.
Yeah. So we would talk so much shit about her. I
Mm.
couldn't. I couldn't deal with her.
Well, we
Okay.
could only for as long as we survived because we would not make it long. We would have drowned or gotten
Oh my God.
shot
We could
or
go.
burned to death. We would
Yeah.
certainly have no eyebrows.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
So Bechdel to bitch. This one's interesting because again, halfway through the book, all of a sudden we get like four or three other female characters. We get the girl from the
Yes.
original book. We get we get the old Scott. We get young again. Girl from the original book is young Scottish witch. Woman from the original book is old Scottish witch, and then you get Giovanna. So again, we do have that really nice moment with those two.
But
But
most of the women in this are just sprung on you and never talk to anybody else.
yeah,
I cannot express enough how much these people who show up in this book are not related to the rest of the story,
yeah,
except that you find out that they were some of them in disguise.
yeah. But I mean, I did like the Giovanna, her story, like, or situation. Like I thought that was a nice moment. I wish there had been more of that. I wish they could have been
Yeah.
like,
It felt very abbreviated. I don't remember the guy who ended up marrying her. I don't like. Okay, so she has a very prominent facial scar,
yeah,
and so this guy who's like running there to do the ransom handoff sees her in the garden, and evidently she doesn't show her face to most people, but like he falls in love with her on first sight, and there's all this, but and
no,
I'm
they did know
happy
each
that like
other.
it shows like that he
They knew each other from that previous book.
No, they didn't.
Like
No, no, no,
he,
no, no, no. They did not. No, this is a completely. They had never met. This is a completely new character. No, seriously, this guy had never seen her before. Saw her scar, but that she was so beautiful, except for her scar. And that's the thing that bothered me is that like that it's
yeah,
her beauty that won him, not anything about her personality or anything else. It's
right,
just that he saw the rest of her face beauty, like he was able to mentally Photoshop out the scar. Like that's not really the same thing as
yeah,
seeing past
yeah.
somebody's. I don't know. I
I
did
don't know.
not like that really. That love at first sight, and I just don't see your scar.
Yeah, it was very strange. Again, all these people that just show up. So again, I feel like it could have. It's not though. Again, like at least nobody was like the blonde and the brunette weren't fighting, but there could
Yeah,
have been more. But
yeah.
at
I
least
would have
there
liked
are
to
other.
see a larger, expanded role for this woman who really only showed up to marry off again to the person
Yeah,
who popped up from the last book, evidently. And he's like dangling with good luck charms. He's very superstitious, and that I guess that would have been funny if we knew who the fuck he was. I
yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Um, yeah. Uh, when it comes to consent, is this book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye? Man, that boy has to keep on shoving her the fuck off.
Yeah, it's like she is on it, and he is just like no, no, no,
Ma'am.
no. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I mean, really, it's one of the like more tamer end books that we've had. So
Well, and what he does, and I mean, I think this is supposed to be more of a thing in the book. It's just that it didn't really like kind of register for me as much. Is that some of his kisses are taking kisses and some of his kisses are giving kisses, and he kind of like goes back and forth, and it's obviously
again,
supposed
she's
to have.
just so thirsty for it that it's just like
Yeah, you
because
can't
he keeps
like
laughing and she's like,
I feel terrible that I like kissed her really hard and I touched her boob and like that boob was lining the fuck up, baby. That boob
yeah,
stood in
I
line
know,
for that concert ticket. Do you not?
yeah, like it's yeah. This one I feel like again.
It's not. There's no real problematic, outside of like romance novel problematic things. Okay.
Yeah, not at all.
How badly are you judging your mama for reading this book?
Oh, nah.
Nah, it's fairly. Again, this one was. It was a nice light COVID reading thing. Nobody gets like. And again, aside from poor Richard is the one abused. Had this happened to the
Harry.
girl,
Oh my God, Harry got Stockholmed.
I mean, think about it. Had this happened to the girl, we would be, horrified. But we're
And
just
that's the
like,
thing. This has happened too. Now,
yeah,
not in like a way that, well, no, a way that is supposed to be kind of comedic. We have a book we've not done an episode on because we've been wrestling about how to do it. It's a Jude Devereaux, and you know what? We're
yeah,
done with Jude Devereaux. We're not doing
yeah.
her again. We're finished with her because you know what? We're not doing romance novels by women who hate women anymore.
Yeah, it's like this one, yeah. So this one, it was. I feel like, yeah, it's kind of like a reverse take on it. Like he's the one getting all the abuse.
And I
So
wonder if that was on purpose. I wonder if she was trying to do
I
that.
know,
Like the
but
hapless woman is now the hapless man. Like, oh my God, I'm imprisoned by pirates. Oh my God, I'm imprisoned by a sheik. Oh my God, I'm being whipped by a slave post. I mean, it's
yeah,
like that,
exactly.
only if it's a man. So I don't know. I did not like it when I started it. I warmed up to it as it went on. I really did.
I feel like that's the thing. It kind of like, yeah, you're like,
It
all
grows
right, yeah, all
fine,
right.
fine book, fine. And you realize that you've read 100 pages and.
I feel like we're all Richard and the book is Letty, and it's just like,
The book is just
okay,
face fucking us, yes.
yeah,
It's
all right.
that 365 days thing. It's just doing this to us, and there's nothing we can do to stop. Um. Oh, you're next.
Oh no, I did the mama question.
Oh no, you're right. You did. Okay. Well, would Scarlett Johansson be in the movie? Well, it's only white people.
Yeah, it's only white people per use,
We have
so
cast
yeah,
her like in so many movies just because it's only white people in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all
And I
right,
mean, she does
so
want to be Titian haired, and Scarlett Johansson does too.
she does want to be pushing hair. Okay, you're not leaving the house looking like that. There's no
There
outfit.
should have been some outfits in this book. I'm pissed there were not outfits in this book.
No outfits to describe.
Well, he did have a wonderful, very expensive, sounds exciting, like 9-layered cloak that got burned up
Yeah, they got
immediately.
burned. The cloak got fucking burned. But then he was like, "Oh, it's old." Like again, he's so nice that he's just like, "I don't want to make her feel
He's so
worse."
fucking nice.
Yeah.
Okay, no. There is an outfit because to make her fucking happy, which is what he does the entire book, at the very end, they're married, and he comes out creak, creak, creak in this suit of armor from his
Oh
dad's
yes,
medieval
he does
collection,
wear the
and he gets
armor.
stuck in
Oh,
it.
I forgot about that. Oh, Richard's really just. You know what? Richard's just. He's just a top notch, like, just
He
dude. He's
thinks
just.
he's such a bad guy that he's just a
I
little
know.
fucking kitten.
He is. He's like. He's that guy that thinks he's like so hard. All right. Your question.
Where's your 12-year-old self have a dog in his pages? Okay, I had a fucking problem with that, and I paused that till now, and here I go. Okay, this is a book that actually has the funny thing is, all right, it is explicit, but it's explicit in like the throbbing hardness kind of way. So I mean, it tells you where the throbbing hardness is going, and it takes 10
Yeah.
pages to do it, but it only does it at like the 90% mark. You're
It's
supposed
a
to have a
slow
fucking
burn.
at like the 40, right? You're supposed to get like 40% in, have a little fucking, wet your noodle, and then like get taken. But no, you gotta wait all the way through this book. You gotta watch this man get like fucking knocked over the head 10 times just to get like your fucking end wet.
So you are not a slow, like you would not like a Mariana Zapata book because hers are like it is like 90% every
I
single
haven't
time.
read hers. I don't mind a slow burn if it's like if it's keeping me alive. All right, if it's like
Yeah,
Well, I liked what was it? Morning Glory. No, it wasn't 90%. But like
yeah,
they didn't have sex until after they had actually like gotten married and everything, and after he had repaired many things on the farm.
yeah.
But it was sensuous enough that I was like I was there for it. With this, I was
This
like,
was
well, I
very,
couldn't tell if there was gonna be any fucking. That was the thing. Usually you could tell what kind of book you're in. And I couldn't
yeah,
tell with this book what kind of book I was in.
yeah. I thought I really thought that there was gonna be like ship hold fucking, but there's not. It's very tame. I feel like this is one that like it felt like it was very like geared more towards like the younger end. Like I feel like it was like an adult woman writing an adult dirty book for someone who is 12, 13 years old, you know.
The funny thing is, though, is it's relatively explicit. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
There's not like blowjobs, all right. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, but oddly, considering like the way that kids actually do sex, that's like a more extreme kind of sex than just like a grade A
Yeah.
romance sex. But yeah, but it is relatively explicit.
Yeah.
When you finally
probably
get to
happened.
it, after
Yeah.
you've been through a fucking journey,
I
I did
guess
my 10,000 steps.
you have to earn it. You have to earn it.
You do, but then once they do it, once they get married and do it, they're just like doing it all the fucking time, like
yeah,
rabbits.
and they keep count 1,000,000 and whatever. It was cute. Okay, so what pairs nicely with a dumpster fire? I'm gonna say like here's what I'm gonna say a Mike's Hard Lemonade because again she wanted lemonade, and I feel like that's the shit that Letty would drink is something terrible that you'd be like,
Smirnoff
oh
Ice. She would drink a Smirnoff Ice.
yeah, exactly. Like, ugh, it's so yeah. That's mine. Is a hard lemonade. One of those things that's just it's too saccharine. It's too sweet. It's just in your teeth. It doesn't. You're like, ugh, about it.
Your teeth feel a little bit furry.
Yeah, exactly. You got the furry teeth thing happening.
I
So
would say some kind of drink that's called like witch's brew because it turns out that every fucking thing, except for the fact, I mean, maybe she's actually a witch. She's like a miswitched witch, but like all the events of this, from like all the seawater events of this, all the non-landlocked events of this have happened because a witch has been like fucking meddling in this shit.
this witch that is like there's like Andorra from fucking Bewitched.
Yes.
Who is just bored and is just like, well,
If I were Harry, I would sue in the court of law.
She's like, I'm bored with you assholes, like pointing to her niece, the Scottish niece, and like the English husband. And she's like, I'm gonna go away for a little bit. I'm gonna turn my ferret and my cat into some ship hands, and we're gonna
Her
go.
niece's ferret. She stole the ferret.
Oh yeah, it was the girl's ferret.
She's like, what happened to my ferret? Well, evidently the ferret's like raping captives. I don't know.
No, I made your ferret a sexual predator. Like it's bizarre. It's the weirdest thing.
I mean, if she'd done that to one of my cats, it would not have been a surprise.
Oh my god, it was like so. Yeah, this book was highly entertaining, and you know what? It was kind of refreshing to see like just the dude go through it. So
I would absolutely read another one of these because the style, it was quick moving.
It's
it was
highly
entertaining.
readable.
The thing is, I kept like saying to my husband, "Oh my fucking god, she sunk the fucking ship," and he's like, "Why don't you love this book? Why is this book not your most amazing book?" I'm like, "I can't explain it. Okay, look, it's just it's pissing me off. She sunk the ship, and she has no business sinking a ship."
Yeah, it's so wild. So that has been our take on Jill Barnett's "Dreaming of You," and
It's still dreaming.
huh?
It's just called dreaming.
Still dreaming. Still dreaming. I don't know. I feel like I've got all of Richard's head injuries. So, yeah. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. Anything like that.
I will tell you, you know how, that's the questions they ask you in the ER, when you've like possibly had a stroke or whatever. Well, my grandfather, had a stroke history and they had to take him into the ER for a reason. And this is back in whatever year. And this is when Clinton was president. And they asked him, do you know who's president? And he said, I don't remember his name right now, but he's a wild one.
He is a wild one.
Yeah.
So...
Well, maybe listen then.
All right. Well,
when you know better, you do better.
We will be with you guys again soon. And what was it? What would you do? Basically, like last sign off, you gave like a finger gun. We should just do that. Like.
No, I did. Well, it wasn't the last one. It was like the Dave Coulier, like they cut it out.
Yeah, we need a sign off. We never really have a sign off. We just
we're terrible at it. We just keep talking.
Yeah, we do. All right, so this has been Still Dreaming. Got the name.
No, it's just dreaming.
Damn
like
it,
the word dreaming.
Courtney's gonna realize the book's name.
Courtney doesn't have the book in front of her, and we're remote. So I mean,
yeah. We're hoping that this will be like how Sarah and Courtney got their groove back because
we cannot find a software, and it turns out that we can't do it without looking at each other.
I know. Well, all right. We will see you guys next time.
All right. Stay safe, y'all.
Bodice Tipplers is part of the Frolic Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcast.